Okay, just checking I'm live. I can hear myself. Yep, sounds good. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's Friday and it's Juji time again. If you remember, end of last year we did the challenge Juji. This year, getting a bit more in depth and actually doing a lot more thinking about it from the kind of conversational design point of view, and how Juji, being no code, can achieve an awful lot. So the title of this one is about creating basically upgrading your no code chatbot with generative AI to help boost student recruitment. One of the key areas that Juji works in is the education sector, and that means they've created some really lovely templates, also healthcare, but we're going to focus this one on education. I'm going to start off with a little presentation talking about GPT-3. Not getting into any depth, there's enough of that around, but how Juji is kind of approaching it. And then we'll do a little demo and we'll build a bot without generative AI. And then we'll build one with, and I'll show you where the generative AI is impacting on not only our experiences as conversational designers and businesses that are building conversational experiences, but also how it's giving a better experience to the customer. So first thing we're going to do is going to flick across to this presentation here. It's only a couple of slides. I just think sometimes having a couple of slides helps. So the key takeaways from this are, because we now have access to generative AI, it's going to basically be able to supercharge us as the people who are creating the chatbot experiences, so we can focus more on designing engaging and productive user experiences and not just creating dialogue, which, you know, if you say to someone you're a conversational designer, they're really focusing in on that, creating the dialogue, the copywriting effectively. But you and I know there's a lot more to conversational design than that. It's a bigger beast. So with generative AI, which in Juji's case is GPT-3, everybody gets confused, and Kane pointed this out on LinkedIn today, that people think ChatGPT is it, but it's not. It's GPT-3 is the language model. So the API, OpenAI's API, goes into GPT-3. And what Juji have done, they've created this model of theirs called the Juji Being Maker. And the two together help us as conversation designers build quicker, better experiences for customers. So really what we're looking to do is remove some of those mundane tasks. And anybody who's in conversational design and has been looking at how they might use ChatGPT, you're kind of focusing. I think the two places I've seen most conversational designers focus on is creating dialogue and creating intents. So how many times can you ask, where's your car park? And it just, generate me 20 versions of that question, and ChatGPT will create that using GPT-3. But it's going to be a lot more than that. I've been watching for the last couple of weeks how different platforms are approaching this. But we're obviously going to focus in on Juji today. So reduce those mundane tasks, give us more time to focus on the conversational design, on designing conversations end to end that are productive for our customers, and allow us more time to develop our skills. So we're not doing, I've spent quite a lot of time this week messing around with intents and editing some conversations. Really, I want to be looking at the whole picture, end to end, the kind of customer journey, and really focusing on the big picture and linking conversations together, and a better customer experience, a better customer conversational experience. So there's a lot going on in this slide, but it'll become clear as I demo it. But when you start with Juji, you select a template, or like many platforms, or you just start with a custom start from fresh, from blank. And the Juji Being Maker is the bit that that generates the purpose-driven two-way engagement, and it can handle all, interruptions and digressions and all that. It's really clever the way it does it. And then without the OpenAI and GPT-3, as a human, I go in and I just go in and alter the dialogue, alter the conversation, the flow, build the Q&As, all the stuff that any conversational designer is used to doing. But once we add in Juji Beam Maker and OpenAI's GPT-3 together, we're able to really kind of supercharge how we develop our chatbots. So Juji's got the psychographics built in, so the 5 personality types. It takes a little bit of information from the customer, is able to infer what their personality is, and then is able to use GPT-3 to craft the right dialogue for that person with that personality. Well, that was weird. It's never happened before. But anyway, that's enough of slides. So back to StreamYard. Thank you very much. So what we're going to do is we're going to flick into Juji and kind of work our way through it. So give me a sec while I just present it. Share screen. I want Juji Studio. So I've done a lot of these now, but there's always people that come in who haven't seen it before. Please do let me know in the comments if this is your first time. Rupesh, good to see you. You're always here. Brilliant. Thank you. So for those that haven't seen Juji Studio before, really lovely interface, quick and easy to do. When you arrive at this area that's got all of your different chatbots. And you can see I've created quite a few. In fact, I have a bit of a clear down recently because there were so many. And to create a chatbot, you can either import or you can create a new chatbot. Create a new chatbot. We're going to focus on website. And as I was saying before, we could use a blank template, start from a fresh canvas, or we can use one of the many templates that Juji has. And I know that we're looking for this one here. And what's interesting, and people will easily miss this, is it's got this little brain icon here, and it says this template uses AI to generate custom chatbot. So that's the ones that are using the API, OpenAI's API into GPT-3. And you can see a few of them have already been upgraded, which is fantastic. So this is the template we're going to use, and click Create. Now, this doesn't look any different from normal. We've not seen any element except that little icon. So if I wanted to, I could preview it, or I could hit the customize. Now, typically, we would just, at this stage, it would just go in and we would do the normal stuff that a conversational designer does, start building the flows, using the template as the kind of the foundation. But there is this option now to use AI to help. But in this first instance, I'm just going to show how simple it is with just doing it the normal way. So I'd hit it, and there you go. There's a main chat flow. It's giving me my welcome message. But you can see I would have to go in now and edit this. Thanks for connecting. I am your AI assistant for X University Y. And I would have to go in and change that text wherever it appears in the conversation. It's a typical template all conversational designers have seen. And we go through our X program. So we'd have to add the program in. We'd have to alter these unique qualities to that program. There might be 5, there might be 3, who knows? But all the elements of it, you're going to have to go in and build. Don't get me wrong, this is the way I've always built them with Juji, and I've got it down on pat, but it's still customers' time, still clients' time when you're building these. However, because of GPT-3 now, what we can do is go into the website again, use the template, education, using the one that's got GPT-3 in, which is student recruitment assistant specific, create, customize chatbot, and this time we're going to use that use AI to help. So straight away, what you see is you've got some fields to fill in. So university name, and we're going to change that. So West Coast University, we don't want to say university twice, do we? Better. And we're going to have nursing program just for this demo. That's what we're doing. And in terms of the nursing program, it's filled in affordable tuition, flexible class schedule, and alumni. And what I need is flexible schedule, clinical partners. So I'm just going to edit that. Clinical partners and alumni network. And then it also wants the website. So what we've done is actually we've created a demo site. So we're not using anybody's site because that's not fair. And we'll paste that in and click done. So what happens now is the API from Juji into GPT-3 is now making the call. For any of you that have been using ChatGPT, you know that sometimes it's quick, sometimes it's slow. It depends how busy the actual platform is. I've noticed at the weekend, obviously, it's a lot quieter. You can do a lot more with it. But in the week, it can be a little bit busy. So remember, what's happening now is it's making that call, and it's basically created prompts in the background, which you can't see. And then it's making the API call and then taking what's generated by GPT-3 and pulling it into the template. So the template's there, it's the foundation. And then what it's doing is just grafting on the GPT-3 information. Now, as we all know, if you've used GPT-3, the information is not always correct. It's not always great, but it does help a lot in terms of saving time. And I think that's where the real benefit is. So you can see now that we're in, and it doesn't look that much different from when we did it manually. But you will notice that the little brain has appeared again, and it's clickable. And we can view the generative AI chat flow. So remember, it made the call to GPT-3. So we can go in, and basically this is what it's generated from the prompt that Juji sent to GPT-3. So Vita, hi Mary, welcome to the nursing program at West Coast University, because we added that in at the start. How can I help you today? Mary, I'm interested in learning more about the program. And then Vita, the chatbot, great. We have 3 unique qualities that make our program stand out: clinical partners, flexible class schedule, and an alumni network. Which of these is most important to you? So that has been generated straight away. I might not like it 100%, but it's given me a starting position, which is fantastic news. So if we go back into our chatbot that we generated. Again, that was the brain icon that we saw. Oh, let's just do it this way. So there's the brain icon. We can see that it's added the text in. So nursing program at West Coast University, when I showed you manually, obviously you had to go through each of the topics, each of the flow elements, and you would have to manually put that information in. When I first saw that, I thought it was just basically just doing a field swap, but it isn't. It's using generative AI to do that. And then we've got an element here. It's going to ask what you brings you here to chat with me today, anytime in our chat. Don't forget, we can always edit this if we don't like it. Then it brings those 3 unique qualities, again, from the generative AI. Clinical partners, flexible class schedule, alumni network, and you can select those. And then it will continue the conversation. Fantastic. What's interesting now is if we go back to the original chatbot that we created manually, you will see the brain icon's gone from here. So we know it's not generative AI created. But if we go to the Q&A board, we'll notice there's nothing there. It hasn't dragged anything through. However, if we go to the one where we created it using generative AI, and we go to the QA board, it's now given us, I think it'll probably give us 10. It's given us 10 Q&As. Now, the thing you've got to be conscious of, and anybody who's been using ChatGPT will know this, is it's basically given us 10 that it thinks are good FAQs. And dragged through some answers using the website, generative AI, and pulled it through. You're always going to have to edit that, but it does give us a fantastic starting point. Let's see if there's any more comments. Balwan, first time and excited. Sabrina, first time. Angela, you've experimented with it. It's fascinating, isn't it? I'm looking forward to getting more hands on. Rupesh, yeah. So in the example, is the information scraped in real time for university and program data, or is it stored in the platform for the most part? It's not really scraped. That's what I thought. I thought it was scraping it, but it isn't. It's generating it. Don't forget that I put the initial information, the university name and the qualities and all those kind of stuff. It's not really scraping it. If anybody's there from Juju, you might be able to explain it better than I did then. So in terms of those Q&As, they are there, which is fantastic, gives us a nice starting point. Now, we've seen the elements, so we've seen some dialogue created. We've seen how the dialogue's been updated using generative AI to make it a better experience. We've seen that it's been able to create a set of Q&As, FAQs, including the questions and the chatbot responses, and we can go in and edit those, saving lots of time. But what it can also do is, if I just show you now, it can actually work together with the real brains behind Juju, the cognitive elements. So it's got this ability to assess someone's personality based on the big five. So if we look here, assess my fit for your program, sounds perfect for nursing, right? And what it does, it's got question variations, measure my aptitude for your program, inspect my fitness for your program. They're all generated. I've not had to generate those, which saves a lot of time. They're all there. They're kind of intense. So if I click that and click select, you'll see it's added it in as another Q&A FAQ. And if we go in now, what it's done, it's basically pulled that information as we would normally expect. So if you've seen this before, it wants a little bit of information about you, and then a little bit of information about what you like to do in your free time. And then what it'll do is it'll infer, using Juju's cognitive abilities, the big five, then using generative AI, it'll then pull the messages through. So you'll see here, this will make a bit more sense when you see it. What's the purpose of the messages? Persuade people to take an action. That's what we're trying to do within the education format. And it's considered a nursing program. And then what it's done is, depending on their personality type, thinker, maker, mover and shaker, organizer, creator, helper. If you've ever done the kind of personality tests, you've seen these before. It's actually generated the text. Imagine how much time that has saved you when you're developing your chatbot. What you're doing is, it's giving you a solid foundation to make a really creative, persuasive conversational experience for customers to drive more results. And the results we're looking for within this education setting is we want people to sign up for the nursing program. So that, if I was to spend all day, I probably couldn't come up with text as good as this. The mover and shaker, someone who's enterprising and persuasive. Nursing is an incredibly rewarding and fulfilling career that offers a wide range of opportunities for those who are enterprising and persuasive. With a nursing degree, you can work in a variety of settings, and so on and so on. That is where the API ChatGPT-3 is really, really powerful, I think, within Juju. And once you get your head around how those two are meshing together, the cognitive, clever elements of Juju, no code, together with the power of GPT-3, you start to realize that you can do some quite magical things and do them really, really quickly. So if we go back now and do a preview, In fact, I might do a preview there. I'll do it on the demo site. So this is just a mock-up of this site, but we don't want to be, obviously we can't deploy a chatbot to somebody's site we're not working with. So we've created like a demo of it. So if we click to chat, and I'm going to say my name's Emma, you'll see why in a second. See if there's any more questions. Frank, how are you gauging value of AI assistance? How much time do you think it saves you? Can't put a value on that yet. I've created a lot of chatbots using Juji now. You saw them all, it was over 50. And I've deleted the free, so I've probably done more like 60. I think, you know, will I be twice as quick? Potentially. Oh, and it also depends on the project. Angela says, can't wait to see it working in e-commerce stores. Yeah, e-commerce could be a really fantastic use case, really. So let me go back into our mock-up site. So here's the conversation. It's asked me, what brings you here to chat with me today? And I'm just going to type, I was Googling nursing programs. Oh, let's type it in the right box. I was Googling nursing programs and it led me to your website. So Emma sends the message, Vita responds. So you can see AI centralized, so it's welcome to the chat. I've noticed I've done this several times and that welcome is different every single time. Our nursing program offers 3 unique qualities: flexible schedule, clinical partners, and alumni network. Which of these is most important to you? Remember, that was AI generated text, dialogue, but we could have altered it if we wanted to, make it more salesy. I really like the fact soon they're going to add an element in so we can look at what's generated and just ask it to regenerate, just as if you were in ChatGPT 3. Eventually, I'd like the ability from within Juji to perhaps say something like, make this a more friendly, more welcoming sales copy, something like that. But so for me, it is going to be the clinical partners. And again, Vita comes back with a nice response. Talks about making a learning commitment, and I'm going to say I've got no further concerns. And there are a few ways you can move forward and learn more about X. Which of these options would you want to do? There you go. So that's kind of the simple chatbot, really, really nice. If we now go back into the one I was creating, because I've got a little bit more control over this, I can ask that same question. So give me a second. I'm just going to copy the question so I don't have to type it. You don't have to listen to my fingers on the keyboard. I'm going to come back into Juji, ask the question. Thanks for answering that question. That's really good. Thank you. So I'm going to again click on the clinical partners. And then I'm going to ask that question, which was it assess my fit for your program? So rather than me typing 100 words, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a demo persona, hence why I use the name Emma, because it's the top one on my list. So if I go in, I'm going to paste that in. So this is the cognitive element of Juji, which is going to work in conjunction with GPT-3, not ChatGPT. That's the interface. And then it's asking about my hobbies. So I'm going to bring some more hobbies across. There we go. Vita responds. And then because she has been able to infer my personality type and Emma's personality type, it doesn't tell me on my list, but Juji's been able to infer which one it is, where the balance is of the big five. It then pulls that information across, that dialogue across that GPT-3 had already created. So nursing is a reward and a challenge, clear opportunities for growth and advancement. With a nursing degree, you can work in a variety of settings, from hospital to clinics and so on. And then it'll then move the conversation on. Again, we're trying to drive the conversation to an action at the end. And you can see the actions there. Subscribe to an email, which is the low down one. Schedule a call, the next one up, or start an application, which is really, we want to kind of push most people to be really useful if you were designing this conversation to make sure that you're measuring those metrics. So you can see what percentage of people are clicking on any of those buttons and which ones are getting the most clicks. But that kind of gives you an idea of Juji's approach to integrating with ChatGPT. If I go back to this presentation, give me a second. I'm just going to share this tab. There you go. You should see that. So OpenAI GPT-3 text and the Juji Being Maker are basically knitting together, grafting together to create a better experience. Now, I hope that makes sense. It's a lot to get across in a very short time. I don't like to go on for more than half an hour because it's too long. People get bored. Let's have a look, see if there's any more questions. So the Q&As are not stored on the platform. They are generated given the context of the chatbot, university name, program info, website. However, the answers right now can be a bit off. And that's the bit I was saying, that the answers, and actually the questions are sometimes not that great, but it does give you a nice starting point. And then Balmont was asking, does the chatbot go back to the internet to get data from university websites? They use internet data, but not given a full scrape. Rupesh was asking, can you make a trivia game on this? Of course you could. But the only thing I would say around the trivia game is you've got to understand that the data it's pulling from ChatGPT is not always correct. If you've been following this, you know there's mistakes in ChatGPT-3. It's often inferring an answer it doesn't know. It's working on likelihood, odds of that being the correct answer. But that's it. So to summarize, Juji in the past, we would use the templates or create from blank, and then as a conversational designer, whoever's in charge of doing that would build all the intent stuff, do all the conversational design and all of that. Now with ChatGPT-3, you can kind of fast track all of that information. It's kind of supercharging it. You're able to fit in a lot of the information, saving you a hell of a lot of time. You're able to pull through some Q&As and generate those. And then the really important bit, and the bit I don't want you to miss, is the way that Juji's Being Maker, the model, and ChatGPT-3 kind of just mesh together to take that personality information, that inferred information that we've learned about the person who started the conversation, together with GPT-3's obvious skill in generating dialogue, and merge them together, saving so much time. But the human's still needed. Anybody who was worried that this kind of put them out of work because they're working in conversational design, if your only job is kind of copywriting and messing about with intents, then yeah. But for most conversational designers, it's a much bigger beast than that. Conversational design is understanding the customer, it's understanding the data, it's split testing, it's improving conversations, it's understanding the customers. There's a lot more to conversational design than creating a bit of dialogue. If you've got any questions, this will remain on the Juji page. Just ask them down below. And if you want a personal demo, just reach out and I'll be glad to do that. There you go. 30 minutes, 15 seconds. Couldn't have timed it much better. I'm here if you need me. Take care, everyone, and enjoy your weekend.